Managing people is easy if you know what you're doing. Hi, my name is Greg Story. I'm the president of Dale Carnegie Training here in Japan and the best-selling author, Japan Sales Mastery. And today we're talking about leadership. And if you think about leadership, it's got a couple of components pretty critical. Obviously, the techniques of leadership are important. Communication skills, super important. Coaching, super important. People skills, also very important. But often, people who become leaders don't actually often have a lot of people skills. They've often been very technically capable people. They've been very much self-contained, and they've come up through the ranks based on their own personal ability and drive without really having to influence others. They can sort of work in isolation and work their way up. Then bingo, suddenly they're the leader and they've got to deal with all these people who are different to them. And so some people skills particularly often are some of the missing ingredients for leaders to be very effective with other people. So one very critical thing is we think about some of the Dale Carnegie principles. One is to let the other person do a great deal of the talking. This is genius. However, if you think about most leaders, what do they want to do? They want to talk. They want to be telling people what to do. They want to be giving orders. They want to be directing people. They want to be explaining how things should be happening. So it's a lot of talk coming from one way, from the boss to the employee. So the employee is just getting this wave and wave and wave of instructions. So they're very passive. Well, that's not very effective. We really want to switch gears here and get them talking. When we stop talking and we get them talking, that's where we'll get engagement. That's where we'll get ownership. So first of all, if you find yourself doing all the talking, shut up. Ask a question. Flip it around and get them to do the talking. Let them explain what they're thinking. Get them to explain their ideas. And when it comes to ideas, now as the boss, you've probably got a truckload of ideas, millions of ideas. You're great on ideas. However, what about letting them come up with the ideas so, again, they can have that accountability and ownership more easily? You give them the idea, it's your idea. You help them to come up with the idea, it's their idea. And they will execute that more happily, more effectively, and more productively if they have that ownership. So another Dale Carnegie principle is let the other person feel the idea is his or hers. This is not manipulation. Okay, we're not talking about manipulation here. We're talking about communication skill where you're asking questions that lead that person to a logical consequence. Well, the logical consequence is probably the same outcome that you're thinking about how you might do something. Or they may actually come up with something better. That's a bonus. But you want them to feel that they've come up with the idea, they've come up with the way of doing it. And one critical thing here is we must supply the why, though. Don't expect that they will be able to supply the why necessarily, because sometimes we just have more information or we have a different vision for the organization. So normally I suggest we provide the why, the background on why we're doing this, but then the how part, the what will become clear. We know this is the why, therefore this is what we'll have to do, but how we do it, that should be their ownership there, right there. So let them do a great deal of the talking, have good communication skills so that they come up with the reasoning about why they should do it this particular way, the how it should be executed. If we do those two things in our people skill development, we'll get a much happier workforce and people who are much more engaged. Motivation, inspiration, accountability, all these things come back to engagement. All the scores in Japan around engagement surveys show that Japan is the worst example around the world, and usually APAC's lowest and then Japan's lowest in APAC. And this is because people are in a very passive environment, being told what to do, being scolded by their bosses. They don't feel engaged. We're going to turn that around. We're going to make them think they have ownership here. They feel this is something they have in their bailiwick. They've got control. Therefore, they can do their job the way they want to do it. And that feels much more motivating to do that, obviously. So boss skills, very important. Now, how do we know these things? How do we know and how do we get hold of all these principles? Well, Dale Carnegie program is an excellent program for leadership. It does a number of things. It teaches people come out of their comfort zone, leadership skills, communication skills, people skills, and stress management skills. That's another bonus there. This course is a 12-week long program, or it can be an immersion course over 3 days. In fact, we've got a preview coming up on the 21st of February. So if you're available 21st of February, 7 p.m, come here to our headquarters in Akasaka and attend the preview. Try it out, see what you think. Get a bit of insight in how this course works. This is a course that's been going for over 100 years, by the way. Think of the Kaizen involved there. We do it in 100 countries around the world. We do it in 30 plus languages. So it's a well-tried, true, tested course. It really works. It really works. It's something that when you do it, you realize how much more latent capacity you have, and you become much more motivated, and your people skills get better, your communication skills better, leadership skills get better, stress management gets better. It's got a lot of things happening. It's an omnibus course in that sense. So 21st of February, we have a preview. Come and have a look at that course. So that course goes through the 30 human relations principles, 30 stress management principles. Brilliant, really brilliant course. This is what you need. Training like this to help you take yourself to the other level, or the next level, I should say. So we can be found, our information about the training, the information on that preview, enjapan.dalecarnegie.com, enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. That's our website. Look for the Dale Carnegie course, Effective Communications and Human Relations. That's the one I was referring to there, the 12-week course coming up. So the other things we have going for you are free resources. We have my podcast every week, the Leadership Japan podcast, the Leadership Japan podcast. That's on iTunes and Stitcher. So that's coming out weekly. Have a look at that. We have, for people who are going up into leadership positions from non-leadership positions, you've been a player and it's your first line management experience, Step Up to Leadership. One-day program, brilliant. That'll help you to understand how to go from a player to being a leader, what's involved. The coaching, the people management, the leading, what is the difference between being a player and a leader. Other programs, of course, more in-depth programs, is leadership training for managers. This is a 7-week program, or gets done as immersion course style, 3 days. Everything in a box. Everything in a box you need for leadership. Again, genius program, that one. So leadership training for managers, you can find the details on our site, enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. So there are some things to think about. If you like to watch videos, go to Japan Dale Carnegie TV. We've got 778 videos, all free videos there for you to have a look at. So you can study by listening to the podcast, watching the videos, come to our courses on our website, enjapan.dalecarnegie.com. We have a lot of white papers, ebooks, free resources about leadership as well. Leadership is a critical skill. If you're going to go anywhere in your business, in your career, leadership is critical. Don't work it out yourself. Don't do it by trial and error. Come to us. We will have the roadmap for you, the path forward, so you know what to do. You know how to be the most effective you can possibly be. So there are some things to think about. Good luck for today. And remember, we are here to help you. So please, come and see us or go to our website, enjapan.dalecarnegie.com, and get some of those wonderful resources we have there for you.